All right. Let's pull this over here. What's going on, everybody? This is Quincy Jackson coming at you once again with another episode of Leading Daily. I'm so excited to have a chance to speak to you, not only about the subject of leadership, because that's what we're all about on this podcast, but mainly because I know it's going to help you and it's going to help you get the clarity that you need so that you can get that promotion that you want. It's also going to help you uh, impact your team. It's going to help you impact your family. It's going to help you impact your friends. It's going to help impact so many people that you have yet to meet. And I just am grateful that you've decided to let me be your coach, let me be your guide as you are walking along your path in your leadership development journey. So if you didn't already see the description, or if you didn't already see the title, then you know today we're going to talk about what is the definition of leadership. And it's a funny thing that I was thinking yesterday. I always have thoughts kind of at random times. At least it feels like it's random times for me, and maybe not so random at all. But I was thinking to myself, I was like, man, I wonder if my nephew's ever gonna see this. If my nephews could see this, or if I could even share this with them through my parents today, or through their parents today, what would I want them to get from this? Well, one is 10 years old. I think 11 years old, coming up on 12 here shortly. Another is coming up on 6 in a little while. So we're talking about 5 and 11 years old. And I'm thinking to myself, what would I want them to get and understand at their level? Then that they would know that this is something that they can actually go forward with in their life as they continue to grow, become teenagers, and become young men. And it just made me really have a wow moment, a mind blowing idea such as that made me feel so motivated to do this video. So I want to say, Jaden and Donovan, if you're watching this and you are at the age I just mentioned, if you're watching this sometime in the future, I just want you to know that you're going to go through life. You're going to have some ups and downs. You're going to learn. You're going to you're going to come across challenges. Maybe some things are going to happen with your parents that you don't agree with. But what you want to start doing as early as you can is you want to start focusing on the things that matter to you, not at the expense of others and not at the expense of yourself, but as an investment in yourself, as an investment in your future, and as an investment in the things that are going to bring more gratitude to you, and also going to help you impact the people in the future as well. So I'll do my best to send this to my family. I hope that they enjoy it, and I hope that whoever you are, that you enjoy this content as well. So all I ask is that you like the video, you share the video, you give some hearts, you give some 100s, you give some love, and we're going to talk together and go over this idea of the definition of leadership and how you can actually redefine it for yourself and get some positive results in life. So let's jump into it right away. Definitely my definition of leadership specifically, and I got this from Randall Stoltman. He's a gentleman that's very well known in the area of corporate leadership and corporate high levels. You've probably never heard of him because I had never heard of him until recently. But he says something in a recent interview deep dive we did with him. He said, leadership is an expression of actions, behaviors, and decisions regarding people and situations with all intent of improvement. So I don't know if I've ever said that before in this podcast, but I think it's something I should have probably started with. And so I'm going to say it a couple more times. Just leadership is an expression of your actions, behaviors, and decisions regarding people and situations with all intent of improvement. So we all know that we can't lead anyone outside of ourselves until we can first lead ourselves. And the first way you start in your leadership of yourself is your intent to improve with the purpose and objective in mind. Now, we talk about very often on this podcast is that, hey, You work in a corporate company, you work for an Amazon, you work for a Walmart, you work for a Target, you work for a Sam's Club, you work for a Costco. If you work in an environment of those companies, most likely there's not a leadership development program in place for you so that you can make sure you're doing the right things to progress and climb in that particular environment. Just that's just not existent in my opinion, or based on my observation. So what I would encourage you to do is reassess how you're working, because we know why you're working. You want to improve, or at least you want to get promoted. You want to do better. So in order for you to do better, you have to do more, and not just an addition to, but you have to do more than just work hard. Okay. You have to do more than just come in a little bit early. I can't stay a little bit later. Obviously, in the confines of that type of environment, it's not structured and designed for you to do more in a time standpoint than you're allowed to do. But there is something that you can do. You can do more than you get paid for. So, right, you can do more than you get paid for based on the value that the company says you bring to the table based on your job or position. So, when it comes down to, do you think about leadership for yourself, you have to ask, okay, what am I doing every single day while I'm on the clock that is required of me? Number one. But then what am I also doing behaviorally that's unrequired of me and may not even be the example that I see of those around me? And then when situations arise, am I a problem solver or am I a problem pusher? Do I, yeah, try my best to think through the problem so that I can solve it for the client or for the customer or whoever is working with me? Or am I just pushing it off to the next person and have them be the ones that solves it? Now, in some cases, the job is not set up and designed for you to become and be the problem solver. I understand that. But in a situation, in instances where it is, or you can learn how to be the problem solver, are you taking advantage of those opportunities to learn? Okay. So really fast, I'm going to take a quick moment. I just want to share this with some of my social media accounts, just so that I can uh, get this out there for a second. And then also, as I like to always do, I'm going to share some resources with you that you can use just to develop yourself as you go forward in your leadership journey as well. Okay. So I think I've shared it there. Shared it there. Yeah. Okay. Now, you may be asking yourself, okay, well, I've been wanting to become a better leader, at least be a leader in my area, but I'm not a manager right now. I'm not an assistant manager. I'm not in any of those particular situations or positions just yet. Um, don't I have to get in that position before I start to do things that leaders do? Absolutely not. And the more you think that way, though, the longer you'll be held in a position where you're not in that, you'll be held in a position that you probably don't want to be, or at least don't want to stay for very long. And the longer you'll be there without actually putting yourself in a position to have more value added to you and then adding more value to others. So, what does this mean? Well, this means that you can't wait for your promotion to happen before you start being the person that gets the promotion or has gotten the promotion. Okay. Like if you're in a pool of 10 people, that makes it a little bit more of a challenge sometimes to stand out. But as that number grows and then you see that it's easier to stand out, then maybe it's sometimes in your best interest to, yeah, should I say it? Depending on the size of the people that you're around, if it's like 10 people, 30 people, 50 people, the bigger the number goes, the easier it will be. I don't know why that's always the case. It's probably because people get lost in the shuffle and it's easier to stand out because of the you just kind of go away from where the crowd's going. But when it's a small number of people, it's easy. It's sometimes harder because everybody likes to come together and stay together. So it's easier for everybody to kind of move in the same direction as one and not kind of figure out how to be better together. Okay. But I'm not talking to you. I know you're the type of person that you want to stand out, or you already do stand out in some way, shape, or form. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about is, okay, how can you put yourself in a position to, you can't work more on the clock. And the company won't allow you to do that. How can you actually add more value and do more than you get paid for in your current position? Well, once again, I talked about problem solving, which is a huge one, but also you have to like look at yourself in the mirror and ask, okay, how am I following through on the promises that I make to myself and the promises that I make to my boss, my promises that I make to my customers, and whatever that area of your line of work and industry is. So, if you are not really taking absolute pride, and I'm not talking about being so proud that way you're saying things that you won't do, but you're not taking pride in how you're doing it at the very best level and always trying to improve it, then you're not actually working in a way that great and better leaders work so that they can earn the things that they deserve. Okay. So your next promotion is not going to come by the way of chance. It's not going to come because you uh, need it. It's going to become because you deserve it. And so you have to do these small little things I'm talking about right now to deserve the leadership that you desire. Okay. You can, and this is really interesting because I was thinking a second ago, like, how can kids apply this? How can my nephews apply this idea, even as children, to this idea of leadership when their parents just see them as kids and don't actually, I would kind of, well, how I grew up and what I observed is that children are meant to be seen, not heard. Okay, now that's not everybody. I've learned that a lot of other families have different perspectives on that idea, and they allow or they want their kids, not allow, excuse me, they want their kids to speak up and be heard as much as they can because the communication is better than not communicating and keeping things in secret and hiding it in the dark, things like that. So what you want to do as a child, you just want to start asking more questions and dive deep into those questions of curiosity to you. Okay. But it has to be questions that make sense. Okay. So now you could do the same thing if you're with your manager. You could do the same thing with your boss. Okay. So I'm trying to connect the dots for you guys in based on where you might be. And I started this conversation off by talking about my nephew. So that's where like kids come into my mind in that regard. But if you are working at a company, ask your boss questions, like be curious even in moments where you might feel like it's not uh, something that even really totally relates to what you're doing. Be curious and ask questions about things that are maybe just outside of the scope and the circumference of your job. Okay, if you think about your job as a circle, so if you have a piece of paper in front of you right now, like draw a circle on the page, or O, an O or a circle. Okay, the size of that circle represents the scope of your job. Now, draw a circle right outside of that circle. Maybe, I don't know, I'm not even gonna say a full inch, but if you want to just keep it simple, say just do an inch. Try to go like an inch or half an inch outside of your circle. Okay. That outside circle represents the promotion you desire to have. Okay, so it's above you. It's a little bit wider than you. It's a little bit bigger than you. Now, it's not to say that you aren't capable of feeling that, but right now it's bigger than the current capacity that you feel. Okay, ask that person questions about what it is that they do, how they do it, maybe why they do it, and get information. Don't judge it based on the fact that it's what it is and it's not what you would want it to be. That's the wrong approach to take it, because the moment you try to bring in your perspective from an outside place that has no understanding, then you automatically cut yourself off to learning. Okay. So how do you apply this as a kid? Very simple. Look around the home, at inside, outside. Start asking your mom and dad, mom and dad, or dad and mom, why do we have this? Why do we have that? Why do we not have such and such? Maybe look at the neighbor. Now start home first. Don't look at the neighbor too soon. Maybe ask about 100 questions. If you can keep track of these too, so write 100 questions and ask your mom and dad. That's actually probably the best way to start thinking about, like, thinking as a leader and as a manager, which is to clear and get clarity on your thoughts. And we talked about that in a previous episode as well. So you can even write these down as you approach your boss, as you approach your manager as well. Because all of this doing is just tying into the actions, it's tying into your behaviors, it's tying into how you're going to be you and what you're going to do to be a better leader. Okay. That's all this doing. So let's come back for a second. So why do we do this? Why do we do that? How do we do this? How do we do that? And then once you get information on what its current state is of that thing or things, then you can start to research, okay, what are some other things that are being done that may be different and better. Some may be worse, but in most cases, you'll find a lot of information in today's culture and in today's environment on how you can make things better. So start doing research on, okay, how can I make this thing better? If you start taking that approach, well, obviously we talked about with all intent to improve. Remember, that was at the end of the leadership definition. If you can start to take that approach, you not only increase your curiosity, but you guide it, you direct it. So it's not just splattered in 1,000 different directions. It's very focused. Okay. So focus is a major, major key in every successful person's life, whether it's in sports, whether it's in families, whether it's in parenting, whether it's in their job. Focus is key in everything that comes about success. Okay. And I'm gonna go a little bit shorter today, so probably gonna be about 30 minutes. So I just want to put it out there because I see I'm at the 17-minute mark now. Okay. So as you're writing notes or you rewinding this a few times and you're thinking about it, start to do that and ask your boss, ask your coach, ask your manager, ask your parent, ask them those little simple, ask your wife, ask your husband, okay? Ask them those little simple questions, the how and the whys, then gather information on the current state before you start to do a lot of research on how things can be different. Now, based on where you are and what you do, you know if you need to actually how much information you need. Okay. And then if you're in a position where you don't have to have a whole lot of information, then sometimes you can just take action on doing the things you see need to get done. But there's a right time to do that, and there's a wrong time to do that. I actually did a video about that, and I'll title it "The Right Time to Take Action and the Wrong Time to Take Action as a Leader." That's a fantastic idea. Actually, let me make a quick note of that if you don't mind. So, as always, y'all, I'm always show y'all. I got the leadership journal right here every day. I think I've only missed like 2 days since I've actually started doing this. Every day, man, every single day. And I got a great book coming out for you all. I'm so excited to do that. I always thought my first book would have been something related to I don't know. I guess I never really thought about what it relates. I know who it would be dedicated to, and that would be Edward Jackson and Margaret Jackson. But I never really thought about what it would be about, and so I'm happy that this one. Actually, I thought the first one would be about money. I'm sorry, I thought about it now. I thought the first one would be about money, like how to make it, how to keep it, how to grow it, things like that. And that's very simple, but uh, think that this is more really my passion and where that lies. So, really quick, I'm going to write down when to take action and when to not take action as a leader. So if you're not already writing and have your journal, see, this is my look how many pages I wrote so far. That's crazy. When I never wrote like this, and now I have this. So I'll come up with. I'll actually the next episode or one of the next episodes I'll do is when to take action as a leader and when to not take action as a leader. Okay. Give me. So if you guys are still watching, go ahead and hit a thumbs up, hit a like, hit a love if you're enjoying the content. Okay. Thank you. All right. I got that down in the book. All right. I got about 9 minutes left. Okay. And I'll come back to more information for a second. So what's going on in today's world? What are we seeing? What are some of the big things that we're seeing? Well, we're seeing people complain a lot. And I'm not just saying like I see something and I just express it like a blip and then I never say it again. We're talking about the same thing over and over and over and over. We're seeing people complain a lot about who their manager is, who their manager isn't, what their manager should be doing, why their manager isn't doing this, why their manager isn't doing that. All complaining does, it shuts out the door of creativity. It shuts the door of creativity in your brain, in your spirit, and all it does is cause you to focus once again on the things that are not well, but offering no problem solving or no problem or solution to the problem that you think. Okay, now granted, you might have this problem with this person and whoever it is that your manager or current leader is in the position that you're in, but just because you complain about it has no bearing on it changing whatsoever. So in order for you to actually make things change, you have to understand what change management is. Okay. So many times people that are above us in our position, they don't if they get information from us that will help them change and be better, they're probably not going to receive it because of how they see how it's being delivered. Okay. And who it's being delivered from. Okay. If the messenger doesn't look like the messenger of good news or the news we want to hear, and many times, and I'm saying we as in putting myself in that person's shoes. I'm not saying I am this kind of leader. If the person that's being is delivering the message is not delivering a message that I want, or they don't know how to deliver a message that I may not want but still need in a way that keeps my mind open to receiving it, I'm not even going to listen. All right. So what you want to do is stop complaining. A lot of people complain. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to complain. And then when you do see something that's an opportunity for improvement for someone, you want to present it in a way that helps them become aware of the thing that maybe in your mind at least is holding them back from maybe being a more effective leader. So now if you think about that, that ties directly in doing more than you get paid for, because you don't get paid to go to work and do a job and help your boss be a better boss. You don't get paid for that. You definitely don't get paid to help your boss do things that are beneficial entirely to them and not beneficial to yourself. Most times in the companies, everybody's like that out for themselves. The station WIIFM, I think that's what it is. WIIFM. What's in it for me? It's been a long time since I've heard that, let alone said it out loud. So you want to don't do that. Okay, don't be a WIIFMer. Be a giver in that sense. Now, and this is the last thing I'm going to say before I start to wrap it up. This is not something that you can just do overnight. Okay, it takes time to build a relationship, and so until the relationship is built and built correctly on the solid foundation, then you can build upon that. But if you try to build up something before a foundation of solid, of sound structure is laid, and you can forget about the progress you're going to make or trying to make, because it will not happen. It will fall. Like anything built on sand cannot stand. So make sure that you're taking the time to build those relationships with your leaders, with your parents too. Okay, not and with your coworkers, all of those different things, because in the right ones though. Okay, so some people they don't deserve all of your time, and we talked about that before, the 2080 Pareto principle. Like find the right people you need to spend time with, and some people you have to spend time with because that's just where your circle is right now. But specifically speaking to all intent of improvement, when you take the approach of I am doing this so that I can help not only myself improve, but the people around me improve, then you're gonna I think you will do it in a way that helps you get the task accomplished, but you also do it with a positive spirit. You won't do it with the negative, nagging type of spirit that nobody wants to be around in here. Okay. So that's pretty much the biggest thing I wanted to talk about today. And I wanted to share this with, because I know that what's going to happen is somebody's going to see this, and they're going to really rethink and through, okay, what have I been doing as it relates to this? And then how can I take this approach and definition of leadership toward with my actions, with my behaviors, and my decisions regarding people and situations, so that I can improve and have the intent to always improve the things that are going on. So I really hope you enjoyed this video today. If you like more, please subscribe. Please, I do ask that you share this content with somebody that you may know that's maybe working in an Amazon, working in a corporate environment like a chemical plant, Exxon, or all these different oil and gas companies that are trying to promote themselves or want to be promoted to earn more money in that industry. But it seems like they just are stuck. They feel stuck. And it's probably because they don't know just a few things to be a certain way. And then they'll do a certain thing, and then they'll have that job outcome and promotion that they desire. So please share this and let me know in the comments what you think. And I'm looking forward to talking to you on the next episode, and we'll talk more about the idea of when leaders should act and when leaders should not act, because that's a huge, huge opportunity for leadership today. So hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to talking to you next time. Stay awesome. Later.